Tonight, Hurricane Irma struck Orlando and took down quite a few trees, which is good for Walt Disney World because it's not like we have a lot of trees in parks or anything. No, parks don't have trees. I'll keep going. Well, at least not Hollywood Studios. They don't have trees. Tonight we celebrate the life of Epcot Center as it approaches its 35th birthday. And we're doing the show from home because electricity at a radio station isn't as important as my 2-bedroom apartment. You've read WDW News Today Now. We'll celebrate 35 years of Epcot Center on WDW News Tonight. Applause, woo, because we barely got the show to work.
Yeah, woo! Live from Orlando, Florida, WDWNT.com, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks News, presents radio's only show about Walt Disney World, WDW News Tonight. Now, here's your host, Tom Corliss, and me.
Oh, and it was perfectly timed with the music. Good job. Very good. I'm joking.
All right.
I'm just glad this is working. Michelle's not here.
Yeah, I forgot.
Not that there's a here. We're all in different places.
I was totally waiting for Michelle to just jump in and start saying that.
Someone said, Nick, take your shirt off in the chat.
Done.
No, I don't think they want him to take his shirt off.
Oh, wait, what?
I just think they don't want that shirt on you.
Oh,
Not necessarily suggesting you take it off.
Why are we looking at a logo when Jason speaks? That's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Jason's a logo.
Bob Chapek has eaten me.
Oh, there you
are.
Oh, you're in the studio.
I'm in the studio. See, you guys think it doesn't have power.
Well, wait, your shirt says you're at Epcot, but you're in the studio.
It says I was there next week, a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Did you take the DeLorean to Epcot
I did.
October 1st?
I took the DeLorean, got my shirt. Then I took the DeLorean to 2 weeks from now when the studio is power back, and I'm in the studio.
Well, this does explain why all of the Epcot 35 merchandise is already on eBay.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just you and Chip and Company's wife have all the items pre-listed already for purchase. Anyway, welcome to WDW News Tonight. The radio station doesn't have power thanks to Hurricane Irma, but we wanted to bring you a show this week because we're not going to be here for a couple weeks anyway, so we figured we should probably do a show of some kind. I'm Tom Corliss. You're not. Nicholas Cicero is in his ugly Red Sox shirt.
Hey.
He's here. And Jason's there
here
in the imaginary studio, and Michael's doing control stuff, and we're all here, and it's a show now. Sorry, we're late. Obviously, this is not the usual setup. Usually we have like a fancy soundboard and a studio and things like that. And anyway, so someone said Groot Cup. Oh, the Groot Cup is still there.
I have the Groot Cup, yes.
Yeah. The real mug of the week this week is my vintage Figment cup. Yep. No, see, now we can't lock it because you have to speak to keep the camera on you.
Oh, if I speak, it comes to my camera?
Yeah. See, this is how it's supposed to work.
And if I speak, it comes to my camera, right? Is that working? You see my mug of the week?
No, it's my camera.
It's my mug of the week. Mine, all mine.
I think it likes me. I don't know. But anyway, I have my vintage cup, too.
Now that I had my mug on screen, I feel like my screen went darker. Oh, there it goes.
It did. There it goes.
Now it got brighter. Wait, hold on. That did something.
We don't know what's happening.
It did something. There, it's brightened now.
No idea what's happening.
Fantastic. All right.
Hi.
Tom, your cam is better at home than at studio. I hope so. This is a $2,500 computer. That would be great if it's better than my 6-year-old laptop. That's fantastic. Yeah, no, the camera should be better. But anyway, let's get started now. The news, since we're so far behind. Despite not hitting Orlando with its full force, Hurricane Irma did cause some damage at Walt Disney World, knocking down many trees and signs around the resorts. Although the 4 Walt Disney World theme parks did reopen yesterday, several attractions remained closed when the parks did open. Attractions closed for extended time include the Jungle Cruise and Kilimanjaro Safaris, which just proves that Hurricane Irma was generated by Bob Chapek in an attempt to eliminate the remaining spieling attractions. Bob Chapek generated a hurricane because he is, in fact, a robot. Good. I'm glad you got what I was going for, Nick.
I didn't know that was a robot joke.
He generated a... Can you generate a hurricane? Do you have this power? Anyway. Someone asked about Fort Wilderness in the chat. Fort Wilderness will reopen in a few days. It's not closed forever. Whatever that article is out there that's saying it's closed forever is very wrong. I don't know if you guys got that from some YouTube series or where you got that. That's incorrect. It's not real.
It's river country that's closed forever.
Yeah, river country, thanks to Hurricane Irma, is closed. All the water parks are closed currently, but that one probably won't reopen. They did kind of pave over the big pool.
And you know what else is closed permanently?
The Adventurers Club! What is this, Serial 8 now?
Maybe.
you know, in this apartment I am, Nick probably doesn't have that. Are you going to bother? No?
No,
he doesn't have it. Oh, my. No, I'm done. All right, let's keep going. Anyway, it's not known how long the attractions will remain closed, although cast members of the Jungle Cruise are saying it could be up to a week. In the meantime, guests can enjoy the other Adventureland attractions, such as the Moana Volcano Roller Coaster and the Moana Meet and Greet in the Enchanted Tiki Room, according to the DSNY newscast. So enjoy those great attractions. Don't hate on me. I'm just crediting where I got the info from. I got it from a very credible news source. There you go. You got it. That makes it all right. It's fair use. Anyway. As previously announced, Typhoon, Laguna, and Blizzard Beach are also closed indefinitely, which will give the lifeguards' eyes a few days to rest after weeks of milky white British tourists. They'll start to be able to see green and blue and red again. Will be very helpful to them. During the storm, guests at Disney Resort hotels were trapped inside for nearly 24 hours, which is 15 hours more than anyone has ever spent at an all-star resort in one day. So it was a record-breaking day. Yes. People just like sunk into the carpet. Like the carpet was not made to withhold people for that long. So the beds just completely submerged into the floor rug. The event did make, hold on. See, now it's hard to read a script off a screen. Usually I have the paper. I don't have that.
Yeah, because Nick didn't print it out and bring it to you.
Yeah, you should have printed out the script and drove 40 minutes down I-4 and brought it to me anyway.
that would have been dedication.
Many resorts offered deeply discounted dining compared to the usual prices, which leads us to believe that the hurricanes interfered with Bob Chapek's internal communication tools. He was unable to communicate. Those internal communication tools are because he's a robot. But the hurricane interfered with that. So yeah, the Disney World team had to decide for themselves. They decided on normal pricing. $15 Boma buffet. I wish we had stayed at Animal Kingdom Lodge. It would have been great.
That's amazing.
Not that Yacht Club was bad, but you know. The events did make for some incredibly cute moments, such as character moments, such as Donald Duck playing Guitar Hero, Rafiki dancing to Powerline from a Goofy movie, and even characters just sitting and watching a movie with younger guests. It was pretty amazing. This was all really cute until everyone realized there was two Mickeys and one of them had a broken pair of eyeglasses. Then it got a little weird. People were like, not sure about that second Mickey. I don't know. Anyway. Wow. Thanks to the hurricane, tarps around Bland Avenue at Hollywood Studios had to be removed, revealing the entire unfinished area to guests. Guests were amazed at the slightly repainted facades, Volcano Bay popcorn lights, and the right-aligned street that Disney had been working on for over a year. It was quite a sight. These are the jokes. The joke is that the street didn't really change a whole lot, and it's taken them a year to do this. Good to see the Avatar construction crew is finding work still.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to see Star Wars Land in 2025. It's going to be great. Anyway. Holidays around the world at Epcot is transforming into the Epcot International Festival of the Holidays from November 19th through December 30th, hoping that people forget it's the same thing. Maybe if we change the name. Discover a festival like no other, featuring the joyous holiday traditions of 11 World Showcase nations and 2 spaces that could have been countries that are now IP things. Epcot International Festival of the Holidays surrounds you in the wondrous sights, sounds, and flavors of the season as celebrated by cultures near and far. Delight in stirring live musical productions, savor seasonal food and beverage specialties at the expanded holiday kitchens, and take a festive global tour as costume performers bring time-honored traditions to life throughout World Showcase. New for 2017 is Chippendales Christmas Tree Spree, which is not to be confused with the Sears Christmas Tree aisle at Disney Springs, of course. That will be back as well this year. Chippendale are collecting ornaments for their Christmas tree, and they need your help. To get started, simply purchase a map and sticker set from select merchandise locations. And as you travel around World Showcase, be on the lookout for Remy from Ratatouille redressed as Chippendale, as they gather ornaments from holiday decorations in each World Showcase pavilion. Get it? Because they have the Ratatouille one now. And it would just be easy to paint him like Chippendale. Anyway.
Just paint him.
Once you spot them, just add the corresponding ornament sticker to your map. Then take your completed map to Disney traders and exchange it for a festive surprise, a full dinosaur from the universe of energy. What else are we going to do with them? Maps are... what was that?
Do they have Santa hats on them?
Yes, Dino Santa hats, which are very much in style now, will be on there. Also, their little witch hats from the Hocus Pocus merchandise.
There you go.
Yes. Maps are $6.99 plus tax, or $122.01 less than a Disney After Hours ticket, and are available throughout holidays around the world at Epcot while supplies last. I'm not even joking. They forgot to change the name in some places. So literally it says, get the map at holidays around the world. That's how last minute this change was. The holiday kitchens will return this year as well, including American Holiday Table, Feast of the Three Kings, Holiday Sweets and Treats, and Mexico. Yes, the great countries of Holiday Table, Feast of the Three Kings. Holiday, yeah, one of these things is not like the others. I don't know how Mexico swung that deal. They're like, well, we're going to do all these holiday themed things, but what about Mexico? All right, you can be involved. Mexico's like that little brother. It's like, yeah, you can go do that fun thing, but you got to take your little brother. Do I have to? Yeah. Those $15 margaritas make us a lot of money. You have to. The Candlelight Processional, along with its dining packages, the Illuminations Holiday Tag, and Joyful Gospel Celebration will all return as well, despite the name change, and despite the fact that no one has ever watched that gospel show. So enjoy holidays, festival, whatever thing at Epcot, new for this year. Meanwhile, from November 9th through December 31st, guests can enjoy Sunset Boulevard as it's transformed into an unforgettable sight in the evenings. But why hang up a bunch of Christmas lights when you could just project cartoons onto buildings, right? That's the answer. The billboards lining the top of the buildings on the boulevard will move and tell their own stories about the season, with some memorable Disney characters in the all-new Sunset Season's greetings. And even the Hollywood Tower Hotel will transform to tell stories as Disney projects hundreds of pipes onto the facade. Yes. The Disney character moments will include the Toy Story characters making guesses as to which attraction will close next. I mean, which new toys are coming to join them this Christmas? The Swedish chef from the Muppets will babble as the street turns into giant gingerbread houses. Mickey and Minnie looking back at a hometown Christmas as the scene turns into a beautiful Norman Rockwell-style town, starting in black and white before slowly developing color, and then being bulldozed and replaced with the IP of the week. And Olaf, of course, dreaming of his holiday wish as the scene turns into a frozen snowscape with the beautiful Aurora Borealis and projected snowfall.
Be gorgeous, especially the bulldozer.
Yeah, you could see that Olaf scene from very far away on the new Mission Space Green team as well. Enjoy that. In addition to Sunset Season's greetings and Jingle Bell Jingle Bam, because everybody loved that. Walt Disney World has also announced additional experiences for Hollywood Studios, which is the first things being added to Hollywood Studios. In Echo Lake, extra large ornaments, colorful garlands, and a giant Christmas tree centered on the water by Hurricane Irma will make the area the merriest of places this holiday season. Even Dinosaur Gertie will be dressed for the occasion with a Dino Santa hat, which will make you completely forget that there's only 4 rides. Yep, you'll spend your whole time taking pictures of Gertie in a cute little hat. For a limited time as well, all new songs from Disney's new animated short, Olaf's Frozen Adventure, will be added to, for the first time in forever, a Frozen sing-along celebration, along with an appearance by Olaf himself, because they have to add the 20 minutes you lost from the great movie ride somewhere in your day at Hollywood Studios. Yes, this will likely make the show very long. In fact, it'll make the show probably longer than Lights, Motors, Action ever was. That was a very long show. Similarly, a large ramp will be set up for over 10 minutes before Olaf jumps through it, and a large explosion before yelling, "Some people are worth melting for." Because he's going through fire. He's a snowman. And Bob Chapek is a robot. Yes. Anyway. Moving over to Animal Kingdom, the breakfast service at Satuli Canteen in Pandora, the World of Avatar, will be coming to an end on Sunday, September 17th. In fairness, it was only offered for an hour every morning. So, I mean, it didn't last that long. It's kind of like a retired segment from this show. You'll completely forget it even existed.
257?
Yeah. What did we just eat? Anything with Michelle? I'll move on. Satuli. Satuli Canteen will begin lunch service now at 10 a.m. daily, but breakfast will return for quote-unquote peak periods, whenever those might be. Don't worry, though. All the bowls will be served over a bagel, and when Satuli is on a bagel, you can have Satuli anytime. I don't think someone would get that joke. I was really praying someone remembered pizza bagels and that ad campaign for them. Next up, I have a "Where's the beef" joke. So stay tuned. It's very timely. Anyway. Nomad Lounge at Animal Kingdom has a new menu which includes poutine. Poutine at Nomad Lounge. Not to be outdone, Le Cellier now has Indian bread service. They also have windows that look out at beavers and a moose. So it's a really great meal. Of course, they're completely projected. It's a screen. Yes, it's 2.5D. There's a 2.5D moose and beaver. The Disneyland Resort revealed the full lineup of treats and specialty drinks that will be available to guests during Halloween time, beginning this Friday, September 15th, and running through October 31st. One of the treats guests will find are specially colored churros in colors such as green, purple, or orange. If a guest is offered a brown churro, they're being advised to decline it and report it to the nearest cast member. Yes, do not take... It's not cinnamon sugar. It's not turkey leg flavored. Do not take it.
But yellow churros are okay?
That's
golden
the golden
churro showers are encouraged, yes.
Are encouraged, okay. Yes. Good.
Another item is the Mike Wazowski themed Cronut at Schmoozies. How long until Epcot gets this character overlay? No? All right, I'll move on. Epcot. Even the Cronut's got to be an IP because of Bob Chapek, the robot. Oh, yeah, Nick's like, I gotta find it.
Something.
Other food items include the peanut butter pretzel chocolate bark, campfire s'mores funnel cake, and the Thor funnel cake fries, which are all absolutely to die for. Literally, if you eat all 3 of those, you will die immediately. Souvenir cups will include a poison apple stein, cone cups with a Halloween sticker in Cars Land. Yeah, it's actually just a Mickey sticker that they drew vampire fangs on, but you know, it was a rush job. There's even a headless horseman drink straw going to be available in California. Not to be outdone in Florida, we will have the headless Parks and Resorts chairman straw, which will be available only at Epcot. Don't worry, he can survive without a head because he is indeed a robot. Yes. Meanwhile, in Cars Land, they will have a straw shaped like a stack of tire pumpkins. Tire pumpkins. Did anyone tell them tires aren't shaped like pumpkins? Are they aware of this? I mean, there's nothing compared to my David S. Pumpkin straw, though. Nope, it didn't happen. All right.
Nope.
At this point, a sound effect of David S. Pumpkins would have played if we were in the studio this week.
No.
You will now have to imagine that this happened and how funny it would have been. I will give you a moment to enjoy that mentally before we move on.
I'm so upset I don't have that handy.
Right? That would have been great. Yeah. And I would have had a straw and I would have taken a sip and it would have said, like, any questions?
I need to watch that again.
Yes. Anyway, don't worry. I'm sure SNL will just redo the bit this year because that's all they ever do. Paradise Garden Grill has a number of entrees inspired by the upcoming film Coco. But you do have to eat a frozen appetizer first. Come on. Really? Nobody?
Oh, Oh!
Come on. That was the best joke I had this week.
That's good. I like it.
With this show.
It took a second.
Wow. It took a couple of seconds.
I had to look at the script and see that Frozen was capitalized. Then I got it.
Oh. Yeah, I guess it could have just been like a frozen appetizer. Yeah. Like what we serve at like All-Star.
Yeah.
Anyway. One of the Coco drinks comes in a special souvenir jarita. Yes, those are, of course, the same thing La Cava del Tequila uses to store all their pre-mixed drinks. Those souvenir jaritas. I'm done. That's the news. Who brings us the news? It was so great. Who brought us this great news segment?
That would be T-Public. Don't forget to shop apparel and accessories for Disney fans through WDWNT.com and T-Public. Just go to WDWNT.com, click on the T-Public ad to shop from hundreds of designs for T-shirts, phone cases, prints, and more, including exclusive WDWNT and WDW News Tonight logo apparel, as well as the original creations such as Save Figment, Captain EO Crunch, Seven, IPA, Indigenous Pandora Ale, and more tonight. Do we have the sale going on? Is this real?
The sale is going on right now. You can see it right there. They're all marked down.
Advantage. They're $14 T-shirts. $14 T-shirts. All items are up to 30% off. Yeah. So
Jason, scroll down. We got more than even just our stuff on there. We got other great new stuff.
Yeah, during the show tonight, check it out. Head over to T-Public, or just head over to WDWNT.com. Click on that T-Public link. It'll take you there. Oh, the Space Mountain ones are kind of cool.
Right?
Yeah, those are neat. Some Orange Bird, some Wally.
Orange Bird Trick or Treat.
Love it. Have to check that out.
So there you go. Go to WDWNT.com. Click that T-Public link. Sale is going on now. So we don't have commercials tonight because we're not on the radio because the radio station lost power. But what we do have, we're celebrating 35 years of Epcot. So in lieu of a commercial break, we have a wonderful little piece of audio. We slept together for the 35th anniversary, and you guys enjoy that. And we'll be back in a few minutes with more WDW News Tonight. Nick, you can't mute or the audio goes away.
In fact, the heart of everything we'll be doing.
Start it over.
Will be our experiment. The most exciting, the most important part of our Florida project, in fact, the heart of everything we'll be doing in Disney World will be our experimental prototype city of tomorrow.
Walt Disney was a dreamer and a doer, a man who cared about the world and its problems. He believed that people could develop solutions to problems if equipped with information, technology, and opportunity.
On the threshold of infinity, we see our world as it truly is. Small, silent, fragile, alive. A drifting island in the midnight sky.
Ours is a time of unprecedented choice and opportunity. So let us explore and question and understand. Let us learn from our past and meet the challenges.
Try to imagine, just for
You muted again.
It's hard to beat the sense coursing through the back. And for a brief moment, we have been among its many passengers.
try to imagine.
And still better and better ideas seem to be free.
Of course, imagination is something that belongs.
Try to imagine, just for a moment, a future of amazing technological creativity.
Free in mind, free in spirit, free to follow the distant star of our ancestors to a brighter tomorrow.
A future of adventure and discovery.
And though each of us has our own individual stories to tell, a true adventure emerges when we bring them all together as one. We now have the ability and the responsibility to build new bridges of acceptance and cooperation between us, to create a better world for ourselves and our children.
Everyone can think up new things. That's right, Figment. And every smart new idea can lead to even more.
A future of remarkable awareness and understanding.
All people, regardless of their birth, the right to live, to work, to be themselves, and to become whatever their visions can combine to make.
Try to imagine. Well, we welcome you now to take the first steps into that future.
Peace and goodwill to all who gather here for this earthly celebration.
If we can dream it, we really can do it. And that's the most exciting part.
We call it Epcot. I believe we can build a community that more people will talk about and come to look at than any other area in the world. I'm sure this experimental prototype community of tomorrow can influence the future of city living for generations to come.
All right, we're back here at WDW News Tonight. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and we'll leave it playing a little bit in the background. We got some music to play around with there. So, Nick, are we? Oh, Nick walked away. So I don't know if we're having this game or not. We're having all sorts of fun tonight here on WDW News Tonight. We do have an Orange Bird pop vinyl we're going to try and give away, and we did some pre-signups for that, so I'll find out from Nick in a moment exactly how we're doing that. That's going to happen tonight. We're also, obviously, in the second hour, going to be talking all about the 35th anniversary of Epcot, and we've got the Wonderful World of Psychotic Comets and all that fun stuff coming up for you. We're going to talk a bit about Hurricane Irma in a few moments as well. I think Nick walked away assuming this music was just going to keep playing. But anyway. Nick, welcome back. You could fade that out a little bit now. What are we we have contestants for this game or no? Nick?
I just sorry. Apparently my typing was messing things up.
Yeah.
Is that? No, not yet. But
oh, okay.
They have been notified, and so if we see them pop into the Google Hangout, they will be on the show.
Great. We're obviously doing things a little different this week because we're not in the studio. We don't have a phone line and all that fun stuff. So we're working on it. We'll get people in here as we can to play the map game, the Epcot 35th anniversary edition that we're doing tonight. So in the meantime, I want to talk about Hurricane Irma. Obviously, we stayed on property during the storm. We stayed at the yacht club. As it sounded like this thing was going to get worse, I figured it was probably safer to just stay at Disney. And beyond that, I thought it was something cool we could bring to you guys, show you guys exactly what was going on there during the storm. So it was kind of 2 for 1, safety and good content. And so we booked a room at the yacht club. Apparently Walt Disney World hotels were at 60% capacity. They cut off bookings. Obviously, they didn't want to pack the hotels up anymore, so they kind of cut off room booking once they knew for sure the storm was going to be heading this way. And Jason, I don't know if we could pull up like some of the tweets or stuff, and we'll show people kind of a couple things that went on. I don't know if we can do that. I know I tweeted a lot over those days, but at least we show some pictures. Even we could pull up the videos we posted with the aftermath or something like that.
I'll get one of these videos up. Give me a sec.
So yeah, I think we're gonna be playing the map game in a moment, but we'll get to that. So yeah, we booked a room in the yacht club, and they announced the curfew. So the first day we got to the yacht club, I have to say, and it seemed like it happened at almost every resort. They had the cast members had put together incredible lineups of things, activities for people to do. The restaurants were trying incredibly hard. In our case, Yachtsman Steakhouse became basically kind of a sit-down counter service restaurant. It was very odd. They had basically higher-end counter service dishes available and self-service drink station and condiment station, but the servers would bring you the food and your check. But then they were doing grab-and-go stuff at the market, and a lot of resorts were doing modified buffet. So Cape May had a modified buffet they were doing that was really cheap, and same with Boma and other places. It was a really interesting turn of events, and obviously same thing they did for Matthew. They had characters and stuff there to entertain people, but the entertainment and what they did to entertain the kids and keep people entertained even when the curfew kicked in and we couldn't go outside anymore. Cast members really just went so far above and beyond, and if there was any question that cast members are the heart of the Walt Disney World experience, it can't be argued. After everything that the characters and cast and management and everybody did during the storm, everyone was so well taken care of. And I know a lot of people wanted to bring up leading into the storm. Everyone was joking about the hurricane boxes that they had during Matthew, where they charged people $12 for a white bread sandwich, and things could not have been any more different this time. And apparently we had heard George Kalogridis, president of Walt Disney World, was really upset after Matthew about the way things have been handled. And for this storm, they went so far above and beyond that I think everybody, despite the circumstances, had the best time they possibly could. It was really great. I mean, obviously the storm wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, but we still got hit hard enough. There was really bad wind. We couldn't go outside. A lot of trees and things were knocked over. The Jungle Cruise is down until who knows when. So we assume a tree fell on a show scene or something like that. We don't think it's just cleanup. We assume something has happened in there that is really prohibiting them from opening. Because even as bad as Kilimanjaro Safaris was, they reopened, even though it's still a mess and almost no animals are on it. Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of days. Nick, I don't know if you could bring us some of the real world experience of staying in your actual home in Orlando, what you guys went through.
It was interesting seeing the story develop, but I mean, we didn't really know what we were going to get slammed with. We knew this was a gigantic storm, so no matter what, we are going to get hit with something. So it was just, living here for now, I guess almost 20 years. Just what to prepare when you're getting the storm.
Yeah, you've been through much worse.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like Charlie back in 2004 was a bit worse. Charlie and Francis, and I think Ivan was the other one.
You had the 3 in a row, yeah.
Like 3 in a row. I mean, I know as far as they're saying as far as damage was that it was worse, but this one seemed like it could be pretty bad depending on what it was going to do. And actually, I was up in Lake County, which is north of Walt Disney World, and so we were fully prepared for the worst. We were ready for power to be out for a week. As it stood, I didn't have power for 3-4 days because of the storm. And but as far as damage around here, it wasn't that bad. But we were hearing all the reports, and so we were listening on the radio, and it made that little turn as it was kind of hitting Florida. And so we realized that the eye was going like right over Walt Disney World.
Directly over Disney World.
Yeah. So we were hearing all about that, but luckily it did die down a bit, which we did expect.
Yeah.
Usually, that's what's good about living kind of inland like this. If there is a major storm like this, a lot of times it gets knocked down a few notches before it comes in. So we were expecting that as well. But you don't know. I mean, that you could still get those really high wind gusts. But fortunately, I was hearing a lot of the reports coming in at Walt Disney World, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get that a couple hours later where I am. And I was seeing your reports, your videos, and different people's tweets and stuff, and listening to the radio. It actually made it sound a little worse than it was. I expected worse when I went out there in daylight. And as it stood, I mean, a ton of trees down, but it was scary. But we had a lot of time to prepare. It was a slow moving storm, and that's one thing that we do. And I was really happy to see the response at Walt Disney World as well. They seem to be really on top of this. And
yeah, the cleanup went rapidly. I mean, obviously there's still a mess in a lot of places, but based on how it looked when we emerged after the storm, it's pretty amazing what they did. I mean, just Safari, even after a day and a half of cleaning, was still a disaster. So I can't even begin to imagine what that looked like after the storm. It must have been really terrible. Animal Kingdom got hit the worst. That 192 area got hit the hardest of anywhere on Disney property or near Disney property. And you could tell just walking into Animal Kingdom, that whole tree line against the parking lot is thinned out.
Yeah.
Very thinned out. Yeah. And it's funny because we went to Magic Kingdom, then we went to Epcot, and we kind of, after that, we're just kind of like, well, it looks almost like nothing happened. And we get to Animal Kingdom, the second you walk towards the park, it's like, all right, yeah, something happened here. And then even in the Oasis, just walking into the Oasis, that the second you walk in, there's clearly a space where a tree fell and broke through railings and lifted lights and busted a whole bunch of things up. So it was something. The exit path out of Pandora was closed, and clearly that was real bad. And
well, I mean,
they didn't open till the afternoon, and Kali's still closed, and the trails are closed.
One of the scary things is because of the way the storm turned and was positioned, we were on the side that was going to get the tornadoes as well. So I do know they think a tornado touched down not too far from my house here. It wasn't on the ground for that long, but there are signs that one touched down here, and that was the scariest part leading up to the storm. And I don't know if you were listening to the radio kind of leading up to it or watching the TV.
We had TV on,
the news. So you knew the tornado warnings were coming in pretty rapidly. Did you guys have the tornado warnings down at Walt Disney World? I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, they were in effect in our area. So yeah.
Yeah, because I know they were showing the big part of the storm, which was
people said one touchdown in celebration. Supposedly,
it very well might have, and that's what I'm thinking. Maybe something touched down around the Animal Kingdom.
But we had a tornado warning in effect for a while during all of that, leading up to the storm. So I remember, like I think it started at like 7 something p.m.
7.
Yeah, 7. So 7 p.m. ish into like the 1 or 2 when the hurricane actually hit the hardest. Yeah, but it was windy, and I mean you could see. I put up the video the day at the yacht club, and at the end of that, you hear the wind blasting through the doors and pulling that door open that they had zip tied. And there's a Periscope too where people are asking like, "Is that the wind or is something wrong with your mic?" And I'm going, "That's the wind blowing through the doors." And it's just this real loud like growl, and it was something. Definitely, Matthew was my first hurricane living here, and it wasn't much of anything. It just kind of rained for a day. This was significantly worse, and thankfully we fared quite well. And Walt Disney World seems fine for the most part. A couple rides are still down, but otherwise it's fared very well. But anyway, Nick, we have it appears we have several contestants already on to play this game. So why don't you take it away for this special edition of the map game, everyone's favorite game but mine. Oh, we have the music. Great. I'm so glad of all the things that worked. The map game.
How do we
theme
still
song.
have this music?
I'm very happy.
I think this is the old map game music. I don't even know if this is the new map game music. But it's good. We're map game. It's labeled
map game. Are you playing the math game music by accident?
I think it's the same music.
Great.
I don't think we.
Thanks for revealing that we use the same music for multiple games.
Well, it sounds the same. It's all good.
Yeah, blends together like every episode of the show.
Yeah. So, by the way, yes, I have a dog in my lap now. She was.
Oh boy.
We're
desperate for ratings. The dog's gonna ask you to hit the subscribe button in about 5 seconds. We've been training him. We're also getting him a black couch. Anyway, I'm sorry. You've gone.
All right. Well, so we're playing the map game, and this map game is themed to the 35th anniversary of Epcot. And so
right now it's themed to globes, but yes, it is themed.
Actually, that would have been cool. Michael, you missed an opportunity there. You should put the 35th anniversary logo on there. Oh well.
Come on, Michael. Come
on, Michael. You can.
We only asked you to do 50 things this week. Look at this. Now he put up the image. He's actually going to try and fix it. No, don't worry about it. We're ready to play. Let's play this game.
All right, so
we'll live with the globes.
I pick you up so you don't bark. There's no reason. No, you're barking at reflection. There you go. No reflection.
What are you doing with this dog?
All right.
Map game.
Yes, we're going to play the map game. Now, you came up with the idea. What was your idea? What are people collecting here?
Oh, geez.
You came up
with pie pieces.
Pie pieces?
No, whoever collects the most, we are teaming up with the Dreamfinder and Figment, and whoever finds the most amazing and marvelous new ideas is going to win that Orange Bird Pop Vinyl. So unlike our other games where you have to hit a certain number, the goal here is going to be to get the absolute most of anyone who competes tonight, and whoever that is will get the Pop Vinyl. But because tonight's been a mess, we're going to send everybody at least a little something, regardless who plays. We'll send you something. But whoever gets the most amazing and marvelous new ideas will win the Orange Bird Pop Vinyl, which is on Nick. If we show Nick now.
Here's the Orange Bird Pop Vinyl.
We're not going to show Nick. There we
Lovely.
Go. There it is.
Oh.
It's a hot item. Over 100 sold on eBay for way too much. So
the dog is eyeing.
Chip and Co. has sold a lot of those already. So, there's only so many left. Make sure you get them.
All right. So we're going to bring on our first contestant. And I believe Rush was the first one to jump in on this. So, Rush, if you want to unmute your microphone and say hi.
I don't know. Do we have him muted?
Or do we have him muted? I don't know.
There we go.
Hey, Rush.
Hi.
How you doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Where are you joining us from?
Madison, Alabama, Huntsville area.
Nice.
Love your shirt, by the way.
Thank you. I love these shirts.
What do you got? Oh, the great movie. Nice. All right, Rush. Now you're going to play the map game with us, and this is a very intricate game.
It's the most intricate we could do tonight. Literally, there was a text conversation. What are we going to do? Map game. Good. And then it happened. Oh, good. We're seeing all of Michael's notifications. Great. Michael, you missed the text. Just so you know.
You are teaming up with Dreamfinder and Figment to go around and find 7 good ideas.
No, they have to find the most.
Oh, find the most.
Whoever finds the most wins the pop vinyl.
Oh, okay. All right. That's even more fun. Look at that. All right.
This show is so professional.
You got to find the most. Look, I didn't have time for show prep today. You guys came up with that.
I know.
All right, cool. Good stuff. So you got to find the most. Usually we find 7. Now you got to find the most. That's fine. So the person who finds the most at the end of the night gets the Orange Bird vinyl, and the rest of you get another prize. All right, so let's start
Maybe
here.
from Nick's dog.
You're going to pick three coordinates, and this is, I think, are we using a retro Epcot map?
We'll have to see. We'll have to find it, or just
cover it. All right. Yeah. Or just tell us.
I'm just gonna sit here and drink. You guys can handle this.
All right, so here we go, Rush. You get 3 coordinates to find as many as you can. Some have good ideas, some have bad ideas.
Oh no.
Real ideas from your idea pouch. All right, so here we go.
Idea bag.
Idea bag, pouch, whatever.
He says the idea bag is full, not the idea pouch. It wasn't like he didn't have like a fanny pack. Dreamfinder with his steampunk fanny pack flying around.
Oh my goodness. All right, so pick your first coordinate, letter A through H, number 1 through 8.
F7.
7.
F7 has 2 bad ideas in it.
What are the bad ideas? Are they just bad ideas?
Closing imagination and closing universe of energy.
All right.
There you
So
go.
you're at -2 good ideas.
A4.
A4. Oh my goodness, that has 10 good ideas.
I like
because Horizons is in it.
There you go.
Good ideas. You are positive 8 good ideas, Rush. You're doing good. You're doing fine. Let's pick one more coordinate.
D6.
D6. 2 good ideas.
Hey, I like that.
Both of them are removing Leave a Legacy.
All right, Rush. Well, you ended up with 10 good ideas. Thanks for playing the map game tonight. We'll let you know, and you can stay tuned if you are the winner of tonight's game and that Funko Pop vinyl. Thanks for playing, Rush.
Thank you.
All right. All right, well, let's bring on our next contestant. I believe Catherine has been waiting in there. Catherine, good evening. Do we unmute her?
We have to unmute her.
I got it. Hey.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Very, very good.
We're doing great.
All right. Where are you joining us? Where are you joining us from tonight?
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. All right.
We're very big in Pittsburgh.
We are. We're huge in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And so why don't we play the map game? You're excited to try to win this. Now, were you more excited to win the Orange Bird Pop Vinyl, or more excited to play the map game?
Probably just to play the game. I haven't played it yet. I'm intrigued.
Aww.
Good answer, Catherine. I'm giving you 1 bonus good idea.
Wow.
All right, let's start with
That's
your
not official.
Okay.
Just like the Dreamfinder's idea fanny pack. It is not canon.
That would sell so good. I think it's in the comics, so it's canon.
Is it? Oh, good. Yeah, because those were really stuck to the source material.
All right, Catherine, your first coordinate.
I'm gonna go with F3.
F3. F3 has 10 good ideas. All right, you're off to a good start. You're tied with Rush. Go ahead with
F3 also in real life has 10 food and wine booths.
Go for your second coordinate.
I'm gonna go with D4.
D4. Oh, -5 ideas. That's bad ideas there. All kinds of bad ideas rolling around.
Yeah, it's that stage on the back of the fountain.
All right, you are at 5. You're at +5 good ideas. Let's pick one more coordinate, Catherine.
Okay. How about With E2?
E2. Oh no. -1 idea. That's a bad idea right there.
Oh.
That's Morocco. That's a bad
No,
idea.
it's the middle portion of Illumination.
Oh.
We're going to take one idea away from you. That leaves you with 4 ideas, Catherine. Puts you in second place out of our 2 contestants so far tonight.
We'll send you something.
We'll still send you something. Thanks for playing tonight, Catherine.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right. Rocking along here. Let's see. Let's bring up, I can't see your name, Middle of.
Oh, he's wearing a Make the Movie Ride Great Again shirt.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's Mateo. I'm sorry.
Hey, Mateo, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. And where are you connecting to us from tonight?
Orlando, Florida.
Very good. Woo. Did you fare well in Hurricane Irma? Nope. He didn't.
I think he's still in it.
Yeah, stayed up till like 3 in the morning, but I think we're good.
Yeah. So did I. Stayed up all night, then slept all the next day. Good.
So like every other day in Nick's life.
Ouch.
Oh.
Connection's bad.
That's all right. We'll see if we can get through this.
We can see if we can at least get you to clearly state 3 coordinates.
What's your first one, Mateo? Uh-oh.
Mateo, there is a chat box on your Google Hangout there. If you want to use that, we'll at least you could type them in, and we'll go through them one by one. Maybe that'll work.
You could type them in all at once.
Yep. We'll figure this out.
Middle of Disney left group chat, so I think he's gone.
Yeah, he might be gone altogether from the
Hangout.
Hangout.
Is he? All right.
He could use the group. He could use the chat on.
Well, wait, I heard a coordinate.
G something.
G something.
G6?
Hello?
Yeah, there you go.
Announce a coordinate.
G6.
Oh, G6. It is G6.
G6. That's 10 good ideas.
Woo, it's the Imagination Show Building, so those are all good ideas. Yeah.
You're the Imagination Show Building.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
That's the back end of the Living Seas.
Oh,
That's
it is the seas.
That's the aquarium.
It's hard to
filtration.
tell with this map. It's not laid out right.
That's the aquarium filtration.
Which is a good idea.
It sure is.
There's a one.
Okay, he gave us B7.
7?
5 really good ideas there. Woo!
They're all logos.
That's the kennel over there.
Whooping them all up. All right. You're up to 15 amazing ideas. What's your last coordinate?
7.
7.
What was it?
7.
Something with a 7. 7? Which just type it in.
Let's see.
Oh, boy.
He's up to 15. He's in the lead right now.
You just need to not get Journey into Your Imagination, and you'll be fine.
There's some places on the map with lots
that
of
are like Guardians coaster.
But
nope, we're not getting this last coordinate.
oh, you can't end it there.
Come on.
Oh, wait, he's joining again?
Oh, he's coming
Wait,
back.
I don't know what this happened.
We got this.
Man, this is.
Welcome to our hurricane.
The sad thing is, this is still like the top 5 shows we've ever done. This is like number 3.
I can't believe Ahsoka, my dog, didn't stick around for the map game. He took off.
Oh, your dog's pretty sensible.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dog's like, this isn't a game. It's just people yelling out numbers.
One more.
It's televised bingo.
Type it in.
C4.
5 great ideas.
The monorail.
No, that's the Centaurium there. That's the good idea.
No, you can see the monorail, right? And
The monorail's in
Who
it, too.
cares? The game's over. Who cares?
15 amazing ideas in Mateo's idea fanny pack. That is absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So Mateo's in the lead. Do we have any more contestants down here?
I think that's everybody.
Wow.
Did you email more people?
I did.
Oh, okay.
So if we want to give them a little bit more time, or do we want to call it?
No, we can see if anybody
We'll
else.
see if anybody else pops in, but we should probably continue with
I
the
should tell
show.
you who the game was brought to you by.
Yeah, probably.
I'm going to say it was brought to you by the app, the WDWNT app, which is the official mobile application of WDW News Today. This app brings you all the latest Disney Parks news, podcasts, including WDW News Tonight, streamed right to your mobile device, park hours, videos, as well as the ability to listen and chat live on the go with this very show and many others. Download the app for the iOS, Android, and Amazon devices by searching for WDWNT or visit WDWNT.com for more information. WDWNT, the app, bringing the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news anywhere you want it.
All right, so we're going to take a commercial break, and we'll be back. We don't have psychotic comments, do we?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, we do. All right. Why don't we just do that? Forget about the commercial. Let's go to the wonderful world of psychotic comments.
All right, let's do it. That's okay. Yeah, we don't need music for that.
This is the best show.
All right.
Yes or no?
I don't have music, but I got.
Let's just go. Go ahead.
Just go.
All right, here we go. Psychotic comments. Star Wars Galactic Nights returns December 17th. Joseph wrote in. So basically, everything you used to get for free at Star Wars weekends with park admission, only without any cast members. Yay.
And with less rides. Woo!
Yeah. Good. This story, holidays around the world to become Epcot International Festival of the Holidays in 2017. Jason Diffendale commented, we have the Epcot International Festival of the Arts, the Flower and Garden Festival, the Food and Wine Festival, the Festival of the Holidays. What's next? Epcot International Festival of the Summer Sun, Epcot International Festival of the Snowbird.
Wow, Jason, you really killed it.
I'm a little psychotic.
Kim responded, Epcot International Festival of Festivals. Jay responded, Epcot International Festival of Jason's unfunny jokes no one wants to hear.
Accurate.
All right, let's move on to the next story. Sunset Seasons greetings to debut this holiday season at Disney's Hollywood Studios. Gertie responded,
oh boy.
You think Hollywood doesn't celebrate Christmas? Kay replied, do you have better things to worry about, Gertie? Like the fact that your lake is currently drained and you have nowhere to go?
It's Hollywood. Are we sure Gertie isn't Jewish?
Not as funny as Jason's comment, but it'll do.
Maybe Gertie celebrates Hanukkah. Maybe there should be like a dinosaur menorah and a dinosaur dreidel.
That's true.
Right? Giant dreidel on the lake.
Wow.
Yep.
How about the story? New Grand Avenue area revealed at Disney's Hollywood Studios thanks to Hurricane Irma. Jedwa responded, #thanks Irma. Irma replied, you're welcome. Maui replied, hey, stop stealing my bit. Disney World closing water parks. Aerofoil balloon ahead of Hurricane Irma. Brian Guy replied, they're all about to be water parks soon. #too soon.
Oof.
Typical _WDWNT_ commenter.
Walt rolling over in his grave. Blah, blah,
Shameless money grab. Walt rolling over his grave. Etc. Etc.
Every post.
Typical WDWNT commenter replied, you aren't even doing it right.
So there's someone who's taken their role and then they came in and complained about it. Oh, man.
How about the story Santa Gertie the Dinosaur, Echo Lake Christmas Tree, and Olaf coming to Frozen sing-along for holidays at the Hollywood Studios?
The way you said that made it sound like a completely different story. Like there's a dinosaur Olaf coming to that show. But go ahead. I know what story you're talking about.
Fella wrote in, "Oh Lord, a hat on a dinosaur. What a great addition to the Christmas festivities at one of the best theme parks on the planet." Drunk Uncle replied, "Where have you been, sir? Back in my day, they put a 50-foot Santa hat on top of the Eiffel Tower. Now that was a tradition."
Yeah.
Tree Diceless replied, "Why put a Christmas tree in Echo Lake when you could put the tree of dice?" The Church of Dice replied,
"Oh no,
oh god,
the tree of dice is everywhere when it's in your heart."
Oh,
wow. Why is the tree of dice a thing? Why? Why?
There's a Church of the Dice.
You know.
They worship the tree.
So did the Na'vi. It's not that weird.
That's true. Disney distributing safety and information pamphlets to resort guests prior to Hurricane Irma. Mima wrote in, "I was wondering how it was going. Thank you for the update. I have a 9-day stay, September 23rd, and I'm glad they're keeping everyone informed." Jason Diffendale replied, "Coming down on the 23rd? Have you checked out our 10th anniversary event at WDW Celebrations? Epcot 35th anniversary event? Head to events.wdwnt.com and wdwcelebrations.com. WDWNT The Awards Show replied, "And the Nicholas Cicero Creeper Award goes to Diffendale."
And not Broken Glasses Mickey.
Well, broken glasses. There was a really bad comment that I actually left out. It was in your pictures of the new bathroom.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. That's
yeah. Disney World announces reopening park hours following Hurricane Irma. Some jerk wrote in, "But how did the great movie ride fare?"
I actually tweeted like the day before I said the signs had been removed for Hurricane Irma. Because some guy just kept going on about how Echo Lake had been drained for the hurricane, but it was planned. It was happening for a refurbishment. Like maybe they would have done it otherwise, but it had been drained days ahead for the refurb.
Yeah.
And so I started just saying things. I never got to tweet it, but I wanted to go take a picture of center stage and be like, the sorcerer's hat can be collapsed in the event of a hurricane.
Wicked Witch wrote in, "Well, a house fell on my sister."
Who's Wicked Rich?
Wicked Witch. "Well, a house fell on my sister, and the girl that lived in it won't stop bugging me. So there's that." Ryan B replied, "Total loss. They had to close it." All right, there you go. Last but not least.
Oh, boy.
The story, several Walt Disney World attractions remain closed thanks to Hurricane Irma. Andrew wrote in, "How did Epcot make out?" The France Pavilion replied, they used a bit too much tongue.
Oh, man.
Oh.
Wow. Tough chat. Who brings us the whatever the hell the thing's called? Wonderful World of Psychotic Comment.
Oh, that's brought to you by Wigs. The Wonderful World of Psychotic Comments brought to you by Wigs. The Inner Globe.
Say it again. It's brought to you by Wigs. It's brought to you by Wigs. Definitely Wigs. Want me to do it or you got it?
Support WDWNT and get early and exclusive access to content that you just can't find anywhere else, including post shows for WDW News Tonight, starting at just $2 a month. Right now, you can also get discounted registration and access to special events at WDWNT, the 10th anniversary. For more information, go to patreon.com/WDWNT or just visit WDWNT.com and click the Patreon link. Join Wigs and help make WDWNT happen through Patreon.
And we do have a post show tonight because this is the last show for a little while. Or did you not know?
No, I'm going to sleep.
You're not imperative since it's not a studio, so you can.
Wow, interesting.
That's fine. You could bail on the wigs.
Yeah.
Get that tree of dice out of here.
Do we have any more contestants? Anyone else join in? No.
I don't think we do.
All right.
So let's go ahead and we'll take a commercial break. We'll be back with what is supposed to be hour 2, but it'll be the last half hour of the show. We'll preview what's coming up. We're going to talk about Epcot and its upcoming 35th anniversary and the history of the park. All that and much more when we return.
Nearly everyone loves Italian food, but those people who love true, authentic Italian go to Tony's Town Square Cafe. It's because owner and chef Tony Ragu offers home-cooked food from his hometown, Toledo, Ohio. He is 1/8 Italian. Locally sourced Cask Connection freezer items are combined with prepackaged ingredients imported only from the OBT Winn-Dixie, along with mangled recipes from nearly unreadable Buitoni labels. Whether it's quote-unquote pizza or that soup of the day which just hasn't changed in 14 years, taste for yourself at Tony's Town Square, just steps away from that hat store that sells pins. Come taste what the guide map is calling Italian food, only at Tony. And maybe at Portobello. Hello, I'm Tom Corliss, the most famous man in the Disney online community. But you know, it wasn't always this way. For 9 years, WDWNT.com posted photo reports and videos of the highest quality. But it seemed that no one outside of a very dedicated group of fans were able to find our work. But then, I discovered the secrets of blogging. And now, WDWNT is read by millions of people each and every month. I'm ready to share my secrets with you in my incredible new class, Tom Corliss's Unofficial Guide to Blogging, this weekend at the Orlando International Airport Marriott. In this fantastic course, you'll learn amazing things to improve your clicks and page views, such as when to use the word breaking in all caps, how to misguide readers in your titles in order to get more clicks, how to come across vaguely racist in movie reviews, how to turn a number into a catchphrase and huge merchandise sales, how to steal stories from California randos off of Twitter, and how to piss off that one really scary guy on WDW Magic who may have women trapped in his basement. So come on down to the Orlando International Airport Marriott this weekend and take my course for only $77.77 per person. In no time, you'll be the new king of clickbait, the grand poobah of page views, and the sultan of ad sales. And don't worry about your readers. They'll never even realize you're dumbing down your content. See you real soon, suckers!
Welcome back to WDW News Tonight. We played Pirates going out. We played Mansion coming in because Disney legend and Imagineer Ex Atencio, of course, passed away this week. Very sad. Although, I mean, the man was 98. I would that would be great to live to 98. He lived a very full life, but obviously left an indelible mark on the parks, especially pertaining to Pirates and Mansion, the dialogue and the music. So important to both of those attractions, both considered two of, if not the two most incredible theme park attractions ever devised, and X was such a big part of that and worked on so many other things as well. So obviously that's a big deal, and yeah, so he will surely never be forgotten. A Disney legend, very important part, and to lose him just a couple weeks after Marty, we're losing a lot of the last remaining Imagineers from the Walt era, really. So it's sad, but that's what happens as time goes on. So, Jason, they don't have the link on. Oh, no, it's there now. All right, so we're going to get this discussion going in a moment. I believe we don't have anything else to talk about. Well, let's quickly. I want to say we're not going to be on for a couple weeks. Obviously, next week we're going to be getting ready for the 10th anniversary event. You've heard us talking about this for months.
What a way to go out for a month.
Yeah, right. This is the last show for it. So we're going to be handling the event September 22nd through the 26th, and then we have WDW Celebrations, Celebration 35. That's happening through October 1st. What are the exact dates on that, Jason? What's the start date?
The start date is the 28th, a Thursday.
So September 28th through October 1st. Registration is still open for both. So if last minute you guys wanted to come to either of those events, you go to events.wdwnt.com to register for the 10th anniversary event, and you can go to wdwcelebrations.com to register for Celebration 35. So yeah. Is there a live one during the event? No, we're not doing news tonight during the event. There's more than enough stuff going on. We will likely have something for you guys to watch, even though you're not at the event. It won't be the Seas Lounge, I'll tell you that, because that is there's some interesting stuff going on there that'll may be re-aired at some point. But we really want to do something special for the people who are coming out to the event. That's why you go to an event to enjoy something maybe the rest of the world can't be a part of. So we are going to try and keep quite a few things exclusive, but obviously we'll stream a few things and stuff. So, and of course, if you haven't signed up and you can be here, you should be here for Order of the Seven, because it is shaping up to be the most amazing game. It's going to be incredible, or amazing 8-hour game across Walt Disney World. And we're putting the finishing touches on it, and props and stuff for it are arriving, and it's going to be pretty amazing. So if you can join us, you should.
I know you don't want to reveal too much about it, but is it like is it teams, first of all? Or is it individual?
Yeah, they're teams of 4.
Teams of 4. Is it the first team to finish, or is there a finishing, like it doesn't matter when you finish, how fast you finish? Is it like correct?
Speed will not matter. You will have to hand in at the end of the 8 hours. So by whatever is 7? Yeah, 7. The end time, Jason, whatever it is. I forget.
It starts at 10:30, so something like 7, yeah. Because we gave people a little while to eat too in there. So
yeah, we've been modifying the schedule. But yes, obviously you're probably going to eat for like half hour to an hour in there. There, as of right now, is over 175 possible tasks. And I don't foresee anyone would be able to do them all in 8 hours. So everyone's going to have a very different path to their finish.
Okay.
And you may complete tasks. And I will tell you, even if you complete all 7 of the orders, I mean, there are still different point possibilities. So even if we have a couple of teams who complete the 7, that's where someone says 7, and I say, yeah, 7. Thank you, everybody. There will still be a point total in the end that will matter, but there is item collecting and tasks, and it's crazy, and it will require, there's a lot of WDWNT in-jokes, and then a lot of opportunities to learn about the parks and different things we're going to make you do that maybe you've overlooked or never done at Walt Disney World that we want to make you do because it might be fun to watch you do them or something like that.
Are we going to have people monitoring that you do these things?
What was that?
Are we having like staff out there monitoring that people are actually doing these things that they have to
They'll have to do them.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And if they cheat and figure it out, more power to them, because there's a couple things like that where we were like, well, what if they do this? And we kind of looked at each other and went, but if they do that, then that's fantastic. So let them do it. Nothing, of course, illegal or that will get them thrown out of the park. But there are some loopholes they could probably use that if they figure out, I'm more than okay with. Yeah. So people said just keep rubbing in. Well, yeah, we want you guys to come, and there's a possibility of more of these in the future, and this is the first one, so it's kind of important. And maybe we'll do more of these in the future. Order of the 7 may not exist again to try to build unique games and different things every time. But we're talking it up. It is a big deal. We want people, if they still can come play this game, to come play it, because it's going to be unbelievable and it's going to be a hell of a good time. So we'll be back October 11th because I also, on top of all those events, I then have to go back to New York. A friend who actually was on the staff back in the early days, if you listen to the earliest podcasts, Carmine Torchetti, you may remember from the episode 2 of the podcast, is getting married, and I'm the best man, so I have to go to that. And so I'll be in New York for a bit. But when I return, we'll be back October 11th with the Halloween edition of the Match Game. That's going to be our first show back. Halloween Match Game, October 11th, and we got lots of great shows planned through October and November. And of course, in November, we got the charity weekend coming up and all kinds. There's so much stuff going on the next couple months. It's going to be crazy. And we're going to get the Christmas podcast parade out soon and all kinds of great.
Will there be a 2017 podcast parade?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It'll actually kind of be nice because they somewhat connect. So you'll have like a month or two to really enjoy the last one, which I just got to throw a commercial or two in at this point, and we'll get that out to everybody. Just having a time with the hurricane. Every time, I know we come on every week and we say it, but you guys understand something has literally come up like every week, including this hurricane. And I think they've been things that make sense, whether it was the Great Movie Ride ended up closing and all these other things that have sort of delayed things. But we'll get that out, and it'll be nice because you won't have a tremendous amount of time. It'll be fresh in your mind by the time the 10th ever comes out, So anyway. So because we're not going to be here, we're going to miss Epcot's 35th. So we're kind of kicking off tonight our site-wide celebration of the 35th anniversary of Epcot Center. And we're doing that with our in-depth discussion. We got Jason here. We got Nick here. Also joining us from Drawn from the Vault is Ron Deanna. You should all go watch Drawn from the Vault after this show on YouTube, after the post show maybe even.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, so I want to talk about, and I think we haven't really talked about it a lot. The development of Epcot Center is obviously a very big deal. It was this huge project. You got to remember, so Walt Disney announces the Florida project in 65. And part of that is Epcot. So 65 to 1982 is a long time. We're talking, 17 years. 17 years between when Walt Disney comes out and says, we're going to do this. And then the actual project, albeit very different from what Walt announced, is finally carried out. So I think of any project this company has ever embarked on, the most interesting in so many ways is Epcot, just because of it was the last thing Walt Disney announced, was the last thing he was talking about on his deathbed. He's looking up at ceiling tiles, mapping out for his brother like how the city's going to be laid out. And then there's this 17-year odyssey of completing Walt Disney World and figuring out how you're going to grow that and what Epcot's going to be, and then finally opening this sort of permanent World's Fair thing that ends up being the largest construction project on the face of the earth. And in a lot of people's eyes, the greatest thing that's ever been done in the history of themed entertainment at the same time. Although, as we'll talk about, it wasn't exactly a success either when it opened. A lot of people didn't understand it. People didn't get it. And it kind of took a while for people to understand what Epcot Center was, but I just want to get people's thoughts on that road to Epcot Center, which is a crazy one, those 17 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's very true that we look back on, the Epcot Center of the 80s with such fond memories, but, and especially the early 80s were a very rough time for Walt Disney Productions. They were in 84, 2 years after Epcot Center opened. I mean, there was almost a corporate takeover of the Walt Disney Company. And a lot of that was due to the financial stress that Epcot Center had put on the company. That there was essentially some rich Wall Street guys wanted to buy up the company and split it up into parts. So yeah, the opening of Epcot Center was a very rough time for the company, and obviously it turned out to be very different than what Walt had envisioned. But the construction and preparation for that put so much stress on the company that it took them a number of years to recover from that. I mean,
well, the company wasn't doing all that hot, and so to at that point embark on the most expensive project you've ever embarked on, the largest construction project on earth
at that time, until that time, yeah,
which is insane. And you're doing that at a time of real turmoil in the company. The studio is doing nothing. The studio is tanking. You have no television presence. Parks and resorts are really the only thing that's making money. And so you're continuing on with Florida. But on top of that, Epcot comes out, but not only Epcot doesn't meet any projections early on. As much as we talk about, like you said, as much as we talk about how much we love Epcot, it didn't connect with people until like 86.
It didn't. Well, and they didn't have characters in Epcot for the first number of years, so people had a difficult. Well, it's kind of like people didn't know what to expect.
Yeah. Well, you gotta remember the only two Disney parks are Magic Kingdoms. You have Disneyland and Magic Kingdom. Disney had never done a second park, and I think no other resort in the world had two theme parks. It was never a thing that had been done before.
Right. And people not only didn't they know what to expect, but Epcot wasn't even anything they could have possibly expected. It was so different. I mean, you talk about like when the Magic Kingdom opened and it didn't have pirates, and people went to the Magic Kingdom and said, "Where's pirates?" Yeah. Well, imagine that, but every single ride is like, "Where's this?"
There's no Mickey Mouse. I'm at Disney World, and there's no. Yeah. And it's funny how prevalent that is right now with the changes coming to Epcot. That there is that expectation, but that was the thing they had to establish, that Epcot was this different thing, and it's weird because they did that without their own IPs, but then they kind of used popular culture to steer people into the park anyway. Between Captain EO and then Cranium Command was full of, stars of the time, comedians of the time. And same with Body Wars, was directed and starred very famous actors and directors. And so Epcot went while still keeping to its theme, kind of went in a more direction that people could connect with more.
They did things that they needed to do, I think, to make a connection right. And Walter Cronkite is another perfect example of bringing in a narrator for Spaceship Earth that's completely revered in the world of media personalities.
Was voted the most trusted man by every American. Yeah.
So you bring him in to narrate your signature attraction. And they did some upgrades and some things, I think, to help that. It was a very big learning curve for the company. Just like it was a very big learning curve for the guests.
Pre-86 Epcot, I mean, I know I was there. I barely remember it. I remember waiting for EO to open and the Seas to open, but I don't think we'd revere it if we'd revere pre-86 Epcot without those changes. I mean, the old Spaceship Earth, I don't remember it, but I've listened to the narration.
It's bad.
It's boring. It's dry. I mean,
it's like Original Energy bad.
I don't. I think it's 10 times worse than Energy.
Original Energy is boring.
No, it's not.
It's the same as Ellen. It's all about dinosaurs and mural. It's boring.
At least it had the songs.
The songs are the saving grace of the original, but otherwise, that film is boring.
Well, and
Symbiosis boring.
Symbiosis was pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Seas was kind of boring at the beginning too. But the thing is, they made changes, and certainly, we talked about this on a number of podcast episodes, like what was the best year of the Walt Disney World Resort, and we could talk about what was the best year for Epcot Center. I'm certainly not going to say it was 82. I don't think it was still something in the later 80s. But it was a big step for the company. It was a big intellectual jump for the guests to be able to go in there and figure out how to have fun in a vacation to Walt Disney World, with all of these attractions that in some facets are fun and in some facets are kind of boring and preachy. It was something that no one had ever experienced before and didn't quite know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And they used to suggest, I've been watching old resort TV things that they want you 2 days, And I used to think about that as a kid, like, how does the average person do 2 days there? It's relied so heavy on those entertainment fillings because
We
there
always
weren't a
used to
huge
do
amount
2
of
days
attraction.
at Epcot, though. Like, that was always. No, I don't know how you did it early 80s, but
Right.
I mean, my whole life, we always did 2 days at Epcot.
No.
It was always 3 at Magic Kingdom, 2 at Epcot, 1 Studios, 1 Animal Kingdom. That was always our thing.
Well, I mean, I used to we would drive up for like a long weekend, so I didn't do that, but it was just thinking about that. There weren't that we talk about. There's not a lot of attractions there. There's never been a huge amount of attractions at Epcot. Why they seem less now is they're so much shorter. Nothing was under 10 minutes at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I was told. I mean, I was young when Epcot first opened, but I mean, I think our first trip was probably 83 as far as I could tell. And I guess we came down to Orlando to go to the theme parks every year on a vacation. And I do remember, like my parents told me that like we were totally disinterested in Epcot the first couple trips there.
This explains so much about you.
I apparently had my parents had, weren't that impressed by it at the beginning, but then it kind of caught on. And the more I learned about like Epcot, and my first real memories of Epcot were probably, in the 85, 86 range. And it makes a lot of sense knowing what different changes, kind of came about in the mid 80s. And that's, I guess, the Epcot that I really remember. I definitely don't have any real memories of those first few years of going to Epcot. But I mean, once I got into it, I mean, the thing about Epcot, what was cool is it had something for my parents and something for me. Like they could care less about Future World, but they loved the World Showcase. I was bored to death on the World Showcase, but I loved Future. And I think that's what really made Epcot special for my family, because there was really something for both of us. And I don't think I was that interested in the Magic Kingdom at that age, and I think my parents were fine with that. They were fine spending more time at Epcot.
We used to go all through the 80s. We went pretty often, and we used to go for 3 days. My great aunt owned a condo on the Atlantic side of Florida, and so we would go down to her condo for 2 weeks in the summer, and in the middle of those 2 weeks we would go to Disney World for 3 days. And we would always stay at that point it was either the Polynesian or the Contemporary we would stay at, because they were the only choices. And we would spend usually a day and a half at the Magic Kingdom and a day and a half at Epcot. And I can vividly remember, Spaceship Earth, Universe of Energy, Journey into Imagination were absolutely my favorites. I can remember Horizons and World of Motion. All of those were like the this was like early to mid 80s. But most of those didn't really change over that course of time. I mean, I don't remember the narration of Spaceship Earth before Cronkite, but I definitely remember going on the Cronkite version many times. So, I mean, I remember going and listening to The Land all the time and singing along. So it was, for me, the changes that they made over the course of the 80s in Epcot, I don't think made a difference to me as to whether, I enjoyed my time at Epcot more because of those changes. It wasn't something that was noticeable to me. It certainly might have been noticeable to my parents and my grandmother who took us there. But to me, it was all about the Future World attractions, and it didn't matter that they made some little changes here and there. And I love Magic Journeys. When they changed to Captain EO, I love Captain EO. So
anything's an improvement over Magic Journeys.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Is like, I'm sure my parents thought, oh, great, they got rid of Magic Journeys finally. And I'm like, oh, I miss Magic Journeys, but this Captain EO thing is just as awesome. So to me, it made no difference.
But you could go see it at Magic Kingdom, then.
And I did. So to me, it made no difference that they made those changes, but I think it certainly helped from my parents' perspective to want to come back and be willing to come back.
They're having the Vic Perrin Larry Dobkin argument in the chat. It's Vic Perrin. Larry Dobkin was wrong. It was Vic Perrin was the original narrator.
Marty Sklar insists it was not Vic Perrin.
Oh, does he say it was Dobkin?
Marty Sklar insists it was Dobkin. Yeah, I think you've got it backwards.
Maybe I do. It's been a while since I've had that argument.
That
was
the
that version is garbage.
Well, the no, it was at Epcot's 30th anniversary where Marty was up on stage at the D23 event,
and someone said it was Perrin, and then he yelled
it was never Perrin, it was Dobkin. Yeah, that's exactly right. So Marty insists it was Dobkin. I personally can't believe that no one knows. Like, it's absurd.
Well, neither of them is super famous. I mean,
no, but there's got to be a pay stub somewhere in the archives.
Or it's kind of absurd.
The thing is, the company up until later, didn't keep things. They didn't keep track of things. Like, those things don't exist, and people don't realize that. The Disney company, until very recently, is very bad at keeping anything, or not even just historical props and things like that. It's not a thing they did until recent years. So they probably any documentation, someone went home with it or went in the garbage. So
and that's like I understand that. It would somebody at the company might not know who it was because those people probably aren't alive anymore.
Yeah.
But I can't believe one of their kids, like Larry Dobkin's kids. Did Larry Dobkin never tell his kids and never take his kids to Epcot and say, "Hey, I narrated this attraction back in 82"?
I mean, if you're a voice actor in the early 80s, you probably weren't used to getting credit for anything, and you probably didn't really care.
Yeah, but everybody.
I mean, there's lots of celebrities who don't care that they're in rides. I mean, I don't think Ellen DeGeneres or Bill Nye the Science Guy said a word about that attraction closing. I mean, so
no, they but they were probably very. Excited when it opened.
Well, Ellen not so much.
Well, Ellen might have been excited. She just wasn't allowed to come.
Not at that point.
But I mean, you have to figure that there were family members or something of those people that knew at least a little bit of what they did.
Yeah.
Or that they brought their kids to Disney World and stuff. I mean, it was like, there's got to be somebody out there that knows. They're just not in the Disney community enough to even realize that it's a controversy.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, I was born in '88, so I didn't live through the rough early years of Epcot. By the time I started going, Epcot was solidified and doing well and had good things. I mean, because you got to remember, sort of like right now, where we're leading into there's one big project being built, and because of that, they're bolstering all the parks. When Studios was being built, they were also at the same time growing the other parks exponentially, and Epcot was one of those. Epcot. In those years, 86 to 89, you have Seas, Captain EO, you have Maelstrom in Norway coming on board, you got Illuminations, you have the whole Wonders of Life Pavilion. All of that's going on in a 4-year period or 3-year
and nothing at the Kingdom between 80 and 90.
Yeah, it's true. And then they finally realized the park was aging. Yeah, and finally by 89, Dreamflight comes in and stuff. They start finally doing stuff. There are new parades, and they finally start spending money there into 91 and 92. But Epcot had some money coming in. So my earliest memories, Wonders and all that is there. And I love I didn't feel like Epcot was being ruined. Again, this is before the internet was a thing and there wasn't people talking to each other. And I don't remember ever having a conversation about Epcot being ruined until the end of 1999, when Horizons is sitting there and Imagination's gone. Is the first time I really looked at it and was like, oh, this park isn't as good as it was. Because even those 90s changes I think were great. I love 94 Spaceship Earth. The Irons version was a fantastic update. Global Neighborhood was fine. Interventions was good. I know people like Communicorps, and I agree the design was better with the windows open, but at the same time, Interventions was a good update. Interventions was enjoyable. There was cool stuff going on in there all the time. It certainly made me go in there more than Communicorps ever did, at least in my earliest memories. I don't remember Communicorps a lot. I remember the Centaurium more than anything in Communicore.
That's because you were probably in there more than anything else in Communicore.
Diving in that Figment plush rack all the time. And like Honey, I Shrunk the Audience at the time I thought was better. I never liked Captain EO as a kid. It used to make me cry. Circle of Life was infinitely better than Symbiosis.
What year was that, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience?
94.
96?
94. November 94 was there. Don't forget that. Yeah, and then like even the land, like I remember every time we rode Living with the Land, I remember my mother commenting about the song and being like, yeah, do miss the song. And then we go see Food Rocks, and my mother would always talk about, oh, it's not veggie fruit. I was like, yeah, Mom, we've seen this like 5 times now. It's not veggie fruit. And I like Food Rocks. I think Food Rocks was hilarious. It had the same message, but was funnier.
And it also had big name personality.
Yeah, and it still felt like an Epcot attraction, even though it was more entertaining. It was still all edutainment, but it was more like it's everything that Bob Chapek says Epcot is going to be moving forward, but actually was. It kept the theme. It was more relevant. It was more Disney. Like Kitchen Cabaret was great, but I thought Food Rocks, if they put a few more dollars into, Food Rocks animatronics, would have been great. But it was a good update, and that's how I felt about all that stuff up until Journey into Your Imagination.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think up until the original Journey into Imagination closed, Epcot was in its prime. It was spectacular.
Yeah, and Horizons
even as bad as we look
seasonal.
at back and say, Honey, I Shrunk the Audience is trash now. At the time, it was relevant.
Yeah.
It was fine.
It just went too long.
Yeah, it overlasted its welcome. I think as creepy and weird as it was, EO timeless.
Yeah, because it's fantasy, yeah.
Right. And 94, there's no problem. The only, there's things in 94 I like better than things I like earlier than...
Yeah.
Like anything in the land other than Circle of Life for Symbiosis is a push. The only thing I think I like better after 94 would be I like Ellen more than the original. But
Irons losing the songs energy was
that's my biggest problem with all those changes. I mean, I'm not going to argue that Ellen's Energy Adventure is better than the original Universe of Energy, because it certainly is more entertaining.
Yeah.
The problem is you lost the songs. You lost the songs out of Energy. Yeah. You lost the songs out of Spaceship Earth. You lost the
but I don't think Spaceship Earth. I don't think Spaceship Earth was a bad loss, because I think the thing with Energy is, we lost 2 amazing songs. That score was really great for the 96 version, though. And we don't appreciate it. The Bruce Broughton score is good. Now, I would still pick the 2 songs from the original over it. But the Bruce Broughton score, and that's the same thing with the Spaceship Earth score. I feel like even though you took away song with lyrics,
the score is still amazing. Yeah, the Iron score.
It captured Epcot. It was still inspiring. And especially like the Spaceship Earth descent, in Energy, it never really worked. But with Spaceship Earth, with that descent scene, it was just such an inspiring thing. You're looking towards the future, and this music is swelling, and Jeremy Irons just delivering these really big lines like, we can build better bridges, we'll communicate better, life will improve, and saying things along those lines, and you have this big score behind him, and this fiber optic canopy over you. It's just, that ending was so grandiose and perfect, and it was always, I think, the scene they had the biggest problem with in Spaceship Earth. And I think they fixed so much of the attraction in 94. That version, I think, will always be the definitive one, even though 86 is very good.
And as much as I love Tomorrow's Child, I have a very vivid memory of being stuck in that part of the descent when I was about 8 years old or so, and being in the descent for 15 minutes with the song on repeat. And it killed that song for me for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest issue is when they made changes that got rid of songs and didn't replace them with anything.
Yeah.
So, Spaceship Earth Descent, fine. It is. That was a monumental achievement for that ride to have that ending, and so that makes the loss of Tomorrow's Child not as big of a deal.
Yeah.
Getting rid of Listen with the Land, there was no replacement for it. They just got rid of the song.
You combined both of them.
What did I say?
You said Listen with the Land.
Oh, listen.
What are you two listening to?
The Land.
You're listening to Chubby Cheddar?
But I mean, so they got rid of that song, and there was really no good reason for it. There was really no good replacement for it. The same with Energy songs. I mean, you had the score. You could have kept the songs anyway. So it's that kind of thing that, to me, is why I don't like it when they make changes. It's not even as much as like tearing down attractions like Horizons, although that's a very big deal too. It's when they make changes to get rid of songs and they don't replace them with anything. They just you're losing something. It's not an overall game.
Destiny.
Yeah, that's a perfect example.
I don't really care about Mission Space, but Destiny felt like a 2000s version of an Epcot song. Like, I like Destiny. It's too bad what it's attached to is garbage.
Well, but whether you like it, whether you like Mission Space or not, Destiny was a decent song. Yeah. It was very inspiring.
It was very Epcot.
It was very Epcot, and they got rid of it for absolutely no reason.
Nothing. Some garbage new score that I can't even remember any part of.
And that's when I have the biggest issue with when they make changes, is you get rid of stuff that maybe people don't care about, but you replace it with absolutely nothing.
And that's Test Track.
And then you get replace it with
the thing
garbage.
with Test Track is everybody had such a problem with original Test Track. And then we see the plans for new Test Track. Everyone's like, yes, they're finally going to make Test Track an Epcot attraction. And everyone's looking at it like, yeah, now it's going to be an Epcot ride. And it's going to feel like an 80s Epcot ride, but it'll be Test Track.
Nope.
But then we get to it, and instead it just feels like this big soulless thing that just doesn't work. And it's funny because on paper, that does seem like this is bringing Epcot into,
you would think, well,
the 21st century. Funny enough.
And there again, I think it's execution. There were, as always happens with these things, there were budget cuts. Execution was not what it should have been. So there were a lot of things lacking. And it wasn't necessarily that the Imagineers designed a bad attraction. It was that it was nickeled and dimed to death. And so what we get is something that's subpar and mediocre, as opposed to what we were inspired about.
Going to be, because I mean, it's a boring attraction. I mean, there's nothing going on there. That's
Test Track.
Test Track, yeah. So what would you say? Like when you said they designed a good attraction, what do we know? What
I think he's saying the original version. Original version of Test Track was good. I still don't understand the prop people had just because it wasn't futuristic looking, but I think the whole idea with Epcot was World's Fair, and World's Fair wasn't just every pavilion wasn't just here's what tomorrow will bring. The World's Fair was also companies showing you like behind the scenes what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And Test Track showed you very much what a car company does in developing a car. It was a learning experience. And whether or not it had this city of the future and laser trees and all those things, regardless, it was an Epcot experience. And I understand it wasn't World of Motion where, we go back through the history and then we show you the future. But I don't think everything had to be.
Living with the Land, Listen to the Land wasn't that way either. I mean, they were showing you some cutting-edge stuff, but it wasn't the future.
It was here and now, and what's gonna. And in a lot of ways, here's what maybe will happen tomorrow. And Test Track was kind of like that too. They were showing you what was happening right then and there in that field, and there's really nothing wrong with that. That doesn't make. And even the updated Universal Energy, I think Epcot was trying to become about. What are the problems we're facing now? How do we do these things now? And giving the world a better idea of how things work, which works. I think 90s Epcot was a valid idea that went off the rails in a few places and because of a few things, because of Paris and Eisner kind of just budget cutting everything. because it starts great. 90s Epcot, Project Gemini starts great and then finally falls apart when everything else falls apart. If you pinpoint when everything goes wrong for parks and resorts worldwide, it's 1999. And Journey into Your Imagination isn't the only thing that goes haywire at that point. At that point, Disneyland starts falling apart, and Paris is falling apart. Even though it finally got on track, it's falling apart. Tokyo's doing fine because they aren't run by Disney at that point. So they're fine. But otherwise, I mean, Hong Kong's in development and getting cut to death. Like, they didn't even want to build a full castle. They wanted to build a facade of a castle with a Hollywood-like backdrop. It almost happened. The right idea and the wrong time, because it started great. Again, we talk about Spaceship Earth and Innoventions. And energy in these things are not inherently bad. Like, you can argue back and forth all day, but I think you'll have a pretty good split on people deciding if they were better or worse than the original. But then it becomes very clear cut starting in 1999 when you talk about Imagination and even Horizons. As much as I don't think Horizons was the greatest thing ever, I would never argue Mission Space is better than it. Mission Space is really cool tech and maybe poor execution, but
and there's an example where you try to go and show technology, and if you don't have a good reason for it, then you're just showing technology for the sake of technology, and that doesn't inspire people. That doesn't.
And also, it was still budget because the Space Pavilion was supposed to be more than just Mission Space, and I really believe if that pavilion was that, I don't even know what you called that ride, that thing you sat in the seat and kind of like went around the space station and stuff. I don't remember the name of it. But, it was supposed to be this whole pavilion, and then Mission Space was just one of the rides in the pavilion. But then that got cut down to just Mission Space, and that would have been fine. Mission Space as a secondary attraction, no one would care. It'd be fine. It wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
but
I
it
mean,
ended up being the whole attraction.
Right. And I mean, it didn't even have a restaurant. Like, now finally they're putting in a space restaurant, which is something that was in the original plans for that pavilion.
Yeah.
And never made it. And, it's kind of the same with a lot of things where, I think budget cuts lead to poor execution. And, going back to the new test track, there are so many things wrong with the new test track. But the basic storyline could work, but there's just a lot of problems with the execution. Like when you build a car and then they show you the stats, and they're not showing you the car that you actually built. Like, there's just
tech-wise, there's always problems. There's like always things broken in there, which, don't get me wrong, old Test Track had tech problems, but you didn't realize them because you didn't realize they were there because they weren't. It wasn't like the whole scene was broken. Like, there was a thing where the rail was supposed to spark, but you just felt like you almost hit a rail. Like, it didn't ruin your ride experience.
Right. And the whole thing with the crash test with
the car crashing. Yeah, I mean, the scene still worked. Like, it was sad that didn't work. But if you had never seen that before, you didn't know anything.
No.
Now, if you go through and the green room doesn't work, with the air blowing.
It's the whole
If that doesn't work, you're like, well, what am I supposed to be looking at here? There's nothing else going on. The laser trees don't turn on. You're like, all right, I'm in a black room.
Yeah.
Great.
It just feels cheap.
It does.
And it is. I mean, that's a lot of the problem is that it is.
Chevy wasn't exactly raking in money.
Well,
it was after the bailout.
And I do want to say, as much as we might lament what things have become, I think to the average guest, though, like, if you took Spaceship Earth, Horizons, and World of Motion, like, yeah, they're very distinct rides to us, but they really could have blended together to someone who's just gone for the day. And
they did, actually, for the most part.
For there's times I remember, like, wait, that scene was this, not that, like.
Yeah, I remember guests talking like, which one was the dinosaur? The dinosaurs on the motion ride?
Yeah.
Like, that. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they all were, Omni-movers, and Imagination stuck out just because it was so wild and crazy and amazing, and you couldn't forget those characters. But so many of the other ones didn't have a central character, so they were just kind of these history-telling dark rides. So you could easily forget, like, the creation of the wheel. Wasn't that in the Spaceship Earth ride? Like,
Was Center Court the top of Spaceship Earth? Was it in Horizons?
Well, Horizons, exactly. Horizons blended into all of them, which is, I think, why Horizons was kind of the first casualty. It's why it went seasonal so quick, not only because of the sponsor, but just because people were like, it was so forgettable, I think, because there was so much similar.
Well, it was really a follow-on to the story of Spaceship Earth, but Spaceship Earth was a much better attraction. So,
because Spaceship Earth had a real theme, which was communication.
Right. We were catching up to Horizons quick in a lot of ways.
Well, that's the whole park. The whole problem, the park encounter, was the Tomorrowland problem, where by the time they finished one pavilion, there was 8 out of date. And they couldn't keep corporate sponsoring because corporate sponsors every 10 years didn't want to do another however many $1 million redo.
I really remember it was sometime in late summer of '98. It was right after I moved to Orlando, and I took one of my roommates to the parks. He hadn't been in years, and we took him on Horizons. This was, hey, one of our favorites, and all. He just remembers it's like, so that's what the future's supposed to be? Do they think we're just going to level all modern cities and build what they see there now? And that ever hit me that was such a weird thing to think about.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the chat are talking about Frank Wells, so I think it's worthwhile to talk about Frank Wells and what happened, because I think the death of Frank Wells was really a turning point. And we talked about this. I know we talked about this on podcasts. The death of Frank Wells was a turning point for the company. It was a turning point in the Eisner era, because it allowed Eisner to get too out of hand with things.
I think he only got out of hand, though, because Paris failed.
Well, it may be. But I mean, Frank Wells put a check on Eisner really well in terms of they worked well together. It was a match like the Walt and Roy match, where Walt had all these ideas and Roy brought them to reality. And Eisner and Wells were the same thing. And without Wells there, Eisner sort of just went off the deep end sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think he knew how to react to the Paris thing. I think Frank would have helped him get
Frank
through
would have
that.
absolutely known how to react to
and
the Paris
instead,
thing.
I think Michael tends to overreact, and so his overreaction was we were going to start spending a lot less on stuff, so it's less of a risk.
And it's what it was, is he didn't have anybody he considered an equal to him to bounce ideas off of. He just said, no, it's me, and that's it. And he became an autocrat. If you look at what happened with Katzenberg and look what happened with Ovitz, it's very clear that he didn't want anybody else. He didn't trust anybody else's opinion anymore. And I think if Paris and Wells didn't happen within, what was it, a year and a half of each other, like when we start seeing the first Paris numbers and Wells' death, I think we wouldn't be, like, if Eisner had time to adjust from one of those to the other, we might not have seen that downturn of him just becoming super conservative with everything in the late 90s.
Yeah, I mean, if Eisner was in charge in the 70s, there's no way that Epcot would have gotten greenlit, with the way that he was and budgets and things like that. And, so in a lot of respects.
But he only got like that with budgets because of Paris.
Right.
Because Paris was, I don't think Frank cared that much about Paris. I don't think that was Michael's thing.
It was.
And there was no real. They cut things here and there, but I think the same way Disney cut stuff from Epcot. I mean, Epcot had plenty cut early on.
Paris wasn't a failure because of budget cuts.
No, Paris, they built a beautiful park, and they built it based on a lot of research they had done and things. And then the problem is it didn't take off immediately, so everyone panicked. And instead of moving forward with their ambitious expansion plans in Paris, they instead went with a couple of surefire things which worked, but then
it wasn't.
At that point they started cutting. They built a whole second park that was a budget cut.
Oh, don't get me started.
That's the thing. So there were a couple of significant problems with Paris. And none of it had to do with budget cuts to the original park, but a lot of it had to do with building too many hotel rooms.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize Paris is a tourist destination in and of itself, and it's a quick and easy train ride to get to Disneyland from Paris. So,
It's equivalent of hopping on the Metro North or on the T
Yeah.
or any commuter rail.
so they built way too many hotel rooms because Eisner was infatuated with hotels, as you can tell by the number of hotels that he put into production at Walt Disney World. But Walt Disney World is very different, and Orlando is very different than
Walt
Paris.
Disney World, the difference was Paris didn't exist yet. Walt Disney World needed those hotels. The fact that by 88, Walt Disney World only had like 4 hotels was psychotic.
Yeah, and Paris, and people wouldn't go to Orlando as a tourist destination and then take the train to Disney World. They would go to Disney World as the tourist
It
destination.
wasn't an established
So
location.
Eisner built way too many hotels at Paris, and that really was the biggest drain on the resort overall.
Yeah.
The second park being a disaster didn't come around until much later.
Well, yeah, because after they opened space, they did well for a while, and then
They
it didn't tank again till
they did probably
after
what they
9/11, and and by then they also had a bad park they had to handle.
Yeah, I mean, so and Paris's problems were exacerbated by the fact that there was so much debt that it took them forever to dig out from under their debt.
Well, I don't want to get too much into Paris because we're supposed to be talking about Epcot. Paris
True.
we'll save for a whole other time.
But
We're quickly running out of time, so I want to bring it around to where Epcot's heading now. I know we've talked about this a lot, but I think with the 35th coming up, and this is kind of probably the last birthday where the park will look like it looks now, which is the Epcot we've known for a long time. Like, yeah, things have changed over the years, but for the most part, the park has kept its look and design in many places, and a lot of things are still there that have been there since the 80s structurally. But now, not only are we going to have a lot of new attractions and a lot of IP-based attractions, which certainly started like around 2006. We got Seas with Nemo and Friends. We got Three Caballeros. And then we got Frozen Ever After recently. And so we've been going down this path for a while. And now announced at D23, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride, which will likely be a roller coaster. Epcot's first roller coaster. It's never had one. And then on top of that, the Ratatouille ride for France, the new Seamless Circle Vision coming to China, and likely many, many other things that are still not been announced as of yet. So I'm still cautiously optimistic, I think, just because Epcot has been pretty bad since like 1999. Like there are moments where I've still enjoyed it, but slowly over the last like 15 years, thing by thing that I've really liked about this park has vanished. Even like some of the newer things I enjoyed, like Test Track, kind of got wrecked. And so it's hard. And I going into this, it was kind of like I just want to have a reason to like Epcot again. I really want to like Epcot again.
Yeah, I mean, and for me, Epcot, although it did start its downward spiral in the late 90s, when the Irons version of Spaceship Earth closed in 2007 is when it really hit bottom for me. Even with Mission Space being there at that point, that was tolerable because we still had this great attraction, the headlining attraction for the entire park, Spaceship Earth, with a spectacular narration by Jeremy Irons. And once that got taken out, and then we saw what they did to Spaceship Earth after that, that to me, that was the bottom of the barrel in terms of budget cutting and change for no good reason and ripping things out without a good replacement. I mean, talk about, yanking stuff out and then giving you nothing in return. The ending of Spaceship Earth went from something that was probably one of the most amazing 5 minutes of any Disney attraction to something that you're like, I don't even know what this is.
I just want, I said this before, I just want interesting and enjoyable again at Epcot, and not much there is. I mean, that's one reason I think why we get the festival after festival, to give people something to do.
The
there.
sad thing is I legitimately think Frozen Ever After is my favorite thing there right now.
It is.
I hate to say that because it's Epcot, and I feel like, as someone who appreciates the history of these parks, I feel like an idiot for saying a Fantasyland dark ride is my favorite thing in the park, but it is. It's the thing of currently of most value.
There's not much there interesting anymore.
Seas with Nemo and Friends, I think, is got to be up there with Frozen in terms of something that's
the exhibit space. Yeah, I mean it's still
but even this. I mean, even the sea cabs.
Fine.
It's not a lengthy ride. It's not extensive, but it retains enough of the original Epcot ideas that make it worthwhile.
It's fine. I just
really the property.
I think it was in terms of an overlay to an attraction, especially the resurrection of an attraction that we had all given up for dead.
Yeah.
The resurrection of an attraction there was something of an amazing feat that they went through with that I would have never ever expected to see happen. So to me,
Journey into Imagination with Figment is weeks away from lasting longer than the original.
That something needs to be done about that.
And there's nothing to hate about modern Epcot, but there's nothing to draw you in. I was thinking about this. I spend so much time there lately because I go during the spring or the fall.
Why do you think they have the festivals? Because the festivals are the only thing that draw people in.
It's like studios right now. It's like, well, what's still here that I enjoy? But at least with studios, I hate to say, at least with studios, like I could look at Star Wars Land and be like, yeah, that's at least going to be really good.
It gives you something to look forward to, and right now we have nothing to look forward to at Epcot.
Well, and just
Guardians of the Galaxy.
I think Guardians will be fun. I am concerned it won't have anything to do with the park, and Epcot's just gonna become another like Magic Kingdom, like big Tomorrowland.
Well, but even if you want to remain optimistic about Guardians is not going to be the savior of Epcot, just like Tower of Terror was not the savior of Disney California.
I think you're wrong. I think Guardians is a gatebuster for sure.
I don't know about that.
The fact that Guardians in California was just an overlay and has done as well as it has. They're building a 10-story building by Universe Energy with whatever new technology this coaster is going to use, which apparently is going to be crazy. And the fact that it has an IP that is right now white hot, I don't see a situation where Guardians isn't this giant smash hit.
Well, then if that's the case,
Gatebuster like attendance booms.
No. But when I went to Disneyland Paris,
thinking of Epcot.
When I went to Disneyland Paris a couple of years ago, Crush's Coaster was a gatebuster at the Studios park, but you went into Studios, you rode Crush's Coaster, and you left.
But that's not it's a 4-minute walk from the front of the other park.
But Guardians is also not the only thing they're doing. I mean, Ratatouille is nothing to be
well, and so that's
a big attraction.
So my concern is this. Here's my concern. If Guardians and Ratatouille pump up Epcot's numbers enough, are they just going to stop there and not do anything with imagination?
No, things will close before those open.
Well, so if that's the case,
there are several things that have still not been announced that will happen.
Well, if things will close before then, does that include Interventions? Because that's already closed.
That's going to all get bulldozed real soon.
I know.
So the thing with Epcot you have to understand is that expansion is 3 times the size of DCA. It has 3 times the budget, and it's going to take a while, but it is a lot of new rides.
Well, and as long as it doesn't get budget cuts, so that the things that come online later, like Imagination, get wrecked again because of budget cuts. As long as that doesn't
will
happen,
close well before Guardians opens, I believe.
That's fine. But if it doesn't get built to its original specs and gets budget cut along the way, we're going to end up with something that's terrible.
The one thing you say for this regime, like maybe they're not doing the things that are in Epcot's best interest. This regime does not budget cut things.
Well, that's good.
Every recent project has felt to its full potential, I think. There's nothing I've been on in the last couple of years where I've gone, well, maybe the Mission Space update, but other than that, there's nothing completely new I've gone on, whether it have been Mission Breakout, Radiator Springs Racers, anything in New Fantasyland. You know,
well, and even the Mission Space
really
update.
Great.
I mean, the Mission Space update was well done.
Orange is much improved. Yeah,
it doesn't. The Mission Space update does not feel to me like it was budget cut. It feels like it was just
bad idea. Green was a bad idea. Yeah,
it was just. Well, I mean, they hired the wrong talent to do the pre-show, and they didn't put the effort into it. But it wasn't that it was budget cut. It was just a very minor update to begin with, I think.
People say I don't think so, Tom. In regards to what? Like that there's more to this plan. There is way more to this plan. There's way more coming to all 4 parks in the next 10 years. I mean, while this stuff has been announced going up to the 50th, we're just getting started in Florida. They see incredible potential. In California now, especially with the Olympics now in Anaheim, forget it, or LA. Disneyland and Walt Disney World are going to see expansion beyond belief the next 10 years.
And it's been interesting. Like we've seen when there's been budgetary issues with like Shanghai, last year, they would have cut further development budget. But they decide, this regime, as you said, sees development as something they need. So they cut operations instead.
Right. Yeah. Which is for those of us who are Disney fans, it's taking the hit now. Because we want the future to be good, and that's it's hard to stomach, but it's a long-term view, and that's something this company hasn't had in a long time. Was any sort of long-term trajectory? It's always been immediate, short-term gains, short-term stock price pumping up and things. And finally, they're realizing that, well, we can't cut the hand that feeds us. Yeah. We can't cut these long-term projects.
No, this regime is always like since they came in, they jumped on New Fantasyland and Cars Land. I mean, Cars Land and that whole DCA redo was everything that park needed. And New Fantasyland was taking a section of that park that had been forgotten and just abandoned and making it something that could really be enjoyed, whether they were e-tickets or not. Beautiful area. It has fun rides. It's good dining. The facilities the park needed. A massive upgrade. And even from when this regime began through now, I mean, there's been a couple of hiccups, but none of them very big. And so it's hard to. While the theme of Epcot is the thing I think everybody's concerned about, I don't know if anyone could be concerned necessarily about the quality of the individual attractions, because I think the quality will be based on everything we've seen as of late. Even something rushed like Mission Breakout, the quality was there. So, but anyway, we are well over time, so I want to bring the show to a close. Thank you, panel. Nick, hold off on the music for a second, because I think we're going to go out on that Epcot music in case people didn't get to hear it earlier. If we can go out on that montage, but again, we'll be back October 11th. So make sure you join us. Obviously, we'll be around between now and then, but the news tonight will not be. So we'll see you eventually. And remember, kids, the 21st century begins October 1st, 1982. Good night.
The most exciting, the most important part of our Florida project, in fact, the heart of everything we'll be doing in Disney World will be our experimental prototype city of tomorrow.
Walt Disney was a dreamer and a doer, a man who cared about the world and its problems. He believed that people could develop solutions to problems if equipped with information, technology, and opportunity.
On the threshold of infinity, we see our world as it truly is. Small, silent, fragile, alive. A drifting island in the midnight sky. Ours is a time of unprecedented choice and opportunity. So let us explore and question and understand. Let us learn from our past and meet the challenges of the future.
Try to imagine just for a moment.
An amazing story, as old as time itself, but still being written.
The universe we know is one of dynamic forces. Its heartbeat sending a constant flow of energy coursing through the vastness.
Like a grand and miraculous spaceship, our planet has sailed through the universe of time, and for a brief moment, we have been among its many passengers.
Try to imagine.
And still bolder and better ideas are yet to come. Ideas that will fulfill our age-old dream to be free.
Can they imagine too?
Of course! Imagination is something that belongs to all of us.
Try to imagine, just for a moment, a future of amazing technological creativity.
Free in mind, free in spirit, free to follow the distant star of our ancestors to a brighter tomorrow.
A future of incredible adventure and discovery.
And though each of us has our own individual stories to tell, a true adventure emerges when we bring them all together as one.
We now have the ability and the responsibility to build new bridges of acceptance and cooperation between us, to create a better world for ourselves and our children.
Everyone can think up new things.
That's right, Figment. And every smart new idea can lead to even more.
A future of remarkable awareness and understanding.
To all people, regardless of their birth, the right to live, to work, to be themselves, and to become whatever their visions can combine to make.
Try to imagine. For we welcome you now to take the first steps into that future.
Peace and goodwill to all who gather here for this earthly celebration.
If we can dream it, we really can do it. And that's the most exciting part.
We call it Epcot. I believe we can build a community that more people will talk about and come to look at than any other area in the world. I'm sure this experimental prototype community of tomorrow can influence the future of city living for generations to come.